About a week ago, I ran a vote on my community page telling you all to vote for a video idea, and the most liked one would get turned into a video. And after ideas like F1 Smasher Pass, ranking rivalries, and whatever this is, there had to be only one winner, and it is this video. Obviously. So the title is simple: which Mario Kart tracks would work best as F1 tracks? And just so you know, I am doing all Mario Kart tracks. Yes, all 170 of them. So with that, let me explain how this is gonna go. This will be a tier list with only 3 tiers. The bottom or worst one is bad, meaning the Mario Kart track wouldn't be too good for F1 racing, so that's akin to tracks like Miami or Monaco. The middle tier is good, meaning the Mario Kart track can support some good F1 racing here and there, but it ultimately lacks that extra sparkle to constantly dish out bangers. So that's akin to most F1 tracks like Barcelona or Bahrain. And the highest tier is perfect, meaning 9 times out of 10, banger F1 racing will happen on that Mario Kart track, so that's akin to tracks like Interlagos or Silverstone. Also, for tracks that have converging paths, gaps that are meant to be taken with a glider or boost or underwater section, I would just imagine that there is a piece of tarmac there and prioritize the ideal racing line, which, for converging pathways, sometimes will just be a straight line through the 2 paths. And quick disclaimer, this list will get pretty damn clustered, so you better keep an eye on your favorite racetrack. So with that, join the Discord for good fun and vibes, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you cannot wait for Mario Kart 9. So enough yapping, and here are the best Mario Kart tracks for F1 racing. So let's go in order by games, and we got a ton of them, so grab a snack. Anyways, starting with the first Mario Kart game, Super Mario Kart, and we have a total of 20 tracks to discuss, so let's begin. Mario Circuit 1 is cool, and I cannot be the only one who thinks this will play out similar to Austria, and Austria is a good track, so yeah. Starting off strong with the perfect tier placement. Now for Donut Plains 1, and looking past the fact it is a mud track, I am conflicted. I guess the Pang vibes from it, but something tells me the corners aren't that flowy and it'd just be really boring to watch. Again, looking past the mud, I'm gonna place it in good tier and hope that my opinion doesn't backfire, even though it probably will. Now for Ghost Valley 1, and minus the death gap, another perfect tier for me since the 90-degree corners will undoubtedly bring chaos, and the more chaos, the better. So again, perfect tier. Bowser's Castle 1 is dog shit. Theoretically, it looks good since long straights and 90-degree corners would be good, but just look how boring it is. It's just a box, so I'll put it in good tier, but this track is the equivalent to an industry plant. Now for Mario Circuit 2, and I get big Suzuka vibes from this one. Sure, it'll be fun to drive, but the corner placements I feel wouldn't allow for good, consistent side-by-side racing, just like in Suzuka, and it'll probably be disappointing to watch. So yeah, unfortunately, I gotta put this one in bad tier. Fun to drive, but not to race in. Choco Island one time, and aside from the shit-smeared track, what a horrible layout. How is anyone supposed to race this? Just get this out of my sight. Time for Ghost Valley 2, but unlike Ghost Valley 1, it's alright. It has some flaws towards the end since I really can't imagine good flowy racing through here, but overall, it's not too shabby if I do say so myself. So, to the good tier ahead. Donut Plains 2 time, and just stop. I'm actually getting so mad. What is this, man? Look at this. This is pure dog shit. How's anyone supposed to race this in the second half, man? Again, just get this out of my sight. Guys, the video is over. What is this one? Somehow they took the horrible box of Bowser Castle 1 and made it worse for the second one. Like, why is there a turn that leads to nowhere? Just kill whoever made this track, please. Mario Circuit 3, and finally, some good fucking food. This is literally Sepang in my opinion, and for that reason, perfect tier you go. Now for Koopa Beach 1, and where's the road? It's literally just a circle, not even an oval, a circle. Bad tier you go, shame on you. Choco Island 2 time, and stop. Why is there a pile of shit in the middle of the road? Even looking past it, this layout is abysmal. No turn there complements racing, so bad tier you also go. Vanilla Lake 1 is literally a circle again. Bad tier. Now for Bowser Castle 3, and literally, I'm fucking angry now. How do they make the box worse and worse? My word, man. Mario Circuit 4 is thankfully good, however. Everyone, give a round of applause for Mario. He knows how to make good tracks. Anyways, this is literally Bahrain, which is a good track. So yeah, nothing else to add other than good tier you go. Donut Plains 3 makes me sad. The layout is there, but why on earth does the road narrow and go wide multiple times? If the road just stayed the same track round, it would be good. It really pains me to say it, but bad tier you go. What the hell am I looking at? What is with Koopa Beach, man? Man, Ghost Valley 3 had potential, but this middle bit right here quite literally kills all flow in my opinion. So I think a bad tier is fitting. Dog, what the fuck is actually this? Please just get this out of my sight. Now for the elusive Rainbow Road, and I gotta say, not that bad. Not the best, but it'll be fine for F1 racing, so yeah. So a good start for Rainbow Road. And that wraps up Super Mario Kart, and overall, what shit tracks for F1? Some nice ones, but really mostly shit ones. Okay, now for Mario Kart 64, and let's hope these ones are much better. So starting with Luigi Raceway, and nope, not much better. Basically, take the Jetta hairpin and make it double-sided. That's exactly what this track is. Racing would not be good around here, so that's here it goes, and we move on. Next is Moo Moo Farm, and what in the Donut Plains is this? Just like the other Donut Plains, trash. I mean, maybe I see the vision with the oval shape, but like, did the creator sneeze midway through? I don't know. I don't think it's good for F1, so that's here it goes, and we move on again. Now for Koopa Troopa Beach, and man, I don't know. One part of me thinks it'll be good since it does have nice turns, but another part of me thinks that the lack of straights will kill it. Personally, I agree with the latter, so that's here it goes. Now for Calamari Desert, and normally, this is a top 5 track for me in game, but for F1, I still think it holds up pretty well. By no means is it perfect since I doubt F1 cars can handle the type of oval turns it has, but speeds should be well around here and the turns could lead to amazing racing. So you know what I think? I take back my words. I'ma put this one in perfect tier. Toad's Turnpike is literally Calamari Desert. I mean, the philosophy is practically the same, so take what I said about the previous track and apply it to here. Another bonus is that it's a street race technically, so perfect tier it goes. Frappe Snowland is really bad. It pains me to say it since I see the vision, but the corners are too loose and not sharp enough, so this track in reality would be a dirty air supplier. And I also want to point out the fact that this bit right here, where it goes wide but back to narrow, would cause pure chaos, but still not enough to save it. A shame, but it is what it is. Choco Mountain time, and surprisingly, it works, I think. I feel like the corner placements after the straights complement well, and other than the cliff of death that will for sure kill you, I think it's sick for F1. So yeah, a surprising perfect tier from me. Mario Raceway is up next, and on one hand, the straights are cool, but the turns are too medium speed for me, which of course means dirty air galore. Given the right circumstances, I could see this track work, but normally it'd be alright. So a low good tier it'll go. Now for Wario Stadium, and I'm also really conflicted. I like the Oval Grand Prix layout similar to Indy, but I don't like this middle section here. I think that part will kill all racing. Plus, you know, the shit ton of bumps for no reason. But subtracting that, it'd be pretty good. Not enough for perfect, but still good enough. Now for Sherbet Land, and just like the games, this track would suck ass for F1 cars too. Seriously, were they drunk when designing this? The squiggly straights wouldn't allow for much slipstreaming, and even if it did, man, it'd be dangerous to go for a move. So for that reason, Sherbet Land here you go. Now for Royal Raceway, and I gotta say, I'm kind of disappointed. The loose corners would really kill the track because the straights are damn near perfect. If they were sharper, this track would be much more better, but either way, the straights are simply way too good. So an easy goods here it goes. Bowser's Castle time, and talk about 90-degree corners. I mean, Jesus, it's the entire racetrack, but you know what? I think it'd work. It wouldn't be perfect by any means, because defending would be relatively easy, but with enough energy and terrorist instincts, I can see F1 drivers taking it on. So I think a good goods here it goes. DK Jungle Parkway was this close to greatness. Sector 1 and 2 was there, but this final bit here would kill all racing momentum in my opinion. If it was just a sharper turn, it could have been perfect. So a very high good tier it goes, make no mistake. Yoshi Valley is out there. I would imagine it would give Herman Tilke a heart attack, or an orgasm given his recent work, but if we just take the route most of us take, not bad. It's actually kinda good, really good, and dare I say, I think it's perfect. Banshee Boardwalk, man oh man. We were genuinely so damn close to greatness, but again, that damn Sector 3, these back-to-back chicanes would just kill everything, man. It's so sad. So a sad good tier it goes, but it really could have been perfect. Now finally, Rainbow Road, and this one sucks. If you want boring straight line racing, boy do I have a track for you. It suffers from way too loose corners, which again kills the straights. So it shouldn't surprise anyone that I put this one in bad tier. So Mario Kart 64 isn't that bad actually. It's much better than Super Mario Kart, but there is one major flaw with 64 tracks if you couldn't tell already. The corners are way too loose, which kills momentum in F1 more often than not, which sucks, since some of those straights were actually really good, but oh well, let's see what Super Circuit has in store. Does anyone care about this game? I don't think so, but to the 3 people that do, I got you. Starting with Peach Circuit, and surprisingly, it's pretty good. I think it lacks that extra spark to make it perfect, but these corners are decent, and same with the straights. Sector 3 is definitely the weakest, but it's not that bad. So Super Circuit starts off strong with a good tier placement. Shy Guy Beach is horrible. I mean, again, drunken circles are not good tracks to put it simply, so bad tier it goes along with all the other beach circuits. Riverside Park is actually not that bad. At first, I thought it was gonna be bad, but after thinking about it, I think it'd be pretty decent. Yes, the corners are too sharp, but in an intense battle, it could actually run real nice I think, and the main straight would only amplify this too. So I am thoroughly surprised, and a good tier it goes. Bowser's Castle 1 is a step in the right direction. It's not a dumb box anymore with no straights, and it's also not filled with 90-degree corners. It's actually a really good balance between the two, and it works out beautifully in my opinion. I would think this one is similar to Baku, so perfect tier surprisingly heads. Now for Mario Circuit, and I am surprised. Despite it featuring medium speed corners out the wazoo, the way the straights are before each turn would allow for some nice dive bombs at the hairpin and flowy racing in the final sector. So I think a good tier is fitting. Not perfect, since I personally think there should be more sharper turns. Now for Boo Lake, and this one seems fun. Imagine the chaos that can ensue at this sector 2-bit. I know drivers would love to send dive bombs like no tomorrow around this course, and I'm also starting to see a trend. A good balance of 90-degree turns and long straights seems to be the best layouts for these tracks with F1, so hey, that's pretty cool. But anyways, I think a solid perfect tier is in order. Cheeseland sucks, like straight up. Never mind the straights that are smaller than, you know what I mean. The turns actually kill all racing for F1 cars, and it just seems very boring. So to no one's surprise, bad tier it goes. Now finally Bowser's Castle 2, and this one is weird. Like this middle bit here would suck ass, but the other parts are okay I guess. It really suffers from good old box course, but at least dive bombs would be killer. So this one goes into a very low good tier. Snowland is next up, and it's alright. Even though the lines aren't straight, it doesn't exactly ruin anything, which is good, but in terms of the turns, I think they're a little too open. If 2 cars are running at similar pace, then it could be great, but if they're not and one is clearly faster than the other, then a whole lot of dirty air can be expected. I find this one similar to modern Abu Dhabi, so I'll give it a good tier. Ribbon Road had potential, man. Some of these turns should have been straights like in the middle bit here, cause if they were straights, then the corners would flow better in my opinion, but alas, it's still alright. So a good tier it goes. Yoshi's Desert might be the worst track in this video so far. There is straight up 0 straights, and the corners may as well be taken at all the same speed since most are identical. This is an extremely quick decision, so bad tier it goes. Bowser Castle 3 continues the trend of castles decreasing in quality. This one is weird since you have this straight that bends and then the chicane hell in the last bit of the track. It sucks because normally this is a fun track in the games, but for F1, not so much. So a quick bad tier it goes. Lakeside Park, more like Fake Side Fart, this track sucks. Like the corners wouldn't be good for the cars, and please, tone down the slow speeds after no straights on this track. Like, it's not necessary, man, I promise. For these reasons, it heads to bad tier. Broken Pier, more like Broken Piss, this one also sucks. Like, the chicanes and the bipolar straights just kill this one so massively, which sucks because the aesthetic here is pretty cool. But yeah, another bad tier it goes. Bowser's Castle 4, more like Bowser's Asshole 4, this one yet again also sucks. What is this game's obsession with useless chicanes? This isn't 1994 anymore, man. Make straight straight again. Rainbow Road, more like, oh, Rainbow Road. This one is also perfect, but man, that middle part really messes everything up. Other than that though, the straights lead nicely to the corners and these little bends here shouldn't slow the cars too much. So overall, not that bad. I think a nice good tier is fitting. This game for some reason has 5 cups, so starting with Luigi Circuit, and it's not that bad. The hairpins at first threw me off, but after thinking about it, they kind of flow well. We can expect some dive bombs a lot here, and the only real compliment are the lack of good straights. So not bad overall, and I'd give it a good tier. Sky Garden is pretty strange. Like, a rearrangement is due because all the low speed corners that can provide overtaking are at this bit here back to back, which sucks because if they replaced that more straights in medium and high speed corners, it would work much better. So for now, I'll put it in bad tier. Cheap Cheap Island is alright, I guess. If we just imagine the converging paths are 1, it's not that bad actually. I could actually see the track doing good for F1 cars since the flowy nature of the turns complements the straights as well as the sharp ones. So yeah, I would give it like a low perfect tier. Sunset Wilds is the final track in this game, and man, what a sad way to go out. This track is just medium speed, and as we know, medium speed with little to no straights means dirty air and constant turns, which means very yucky racing. Plus, it's just boring to look at. So yeah, it goes in bad tier for me. And that's Super Circuit. Sad. This game started off good, but what happened, man? Pointless chicanes and pointless medium speed turns really killed all the momentum this game had. So let's see if Double Dash can be any better. This game starts off with Luigi Circuit, and this is literally the N64 one, except combine the roads and you get this chaotic piece of track. Imagine F1 cars going 170 miles directly towards each other at the same time. My heart says it'll be perfect, but realistically, this would suck major butt, so bad tier it goes. Peach Beach is a prime example of what makes a track bad. Too much medium speed, man. It's so disappointing. Nothing else to say other than I'm sad, so bad tier it goes. Baby Park is literally Indianapolis. 10. Unironically, Dry Desert, which is normally a dogshit map in the games, would go hard for F1. Like, just make the converging path a straight line, and yeah, I could see fun overtakes here. It's really just a secure outer layout, which is a good track, so yeah, not that bad, and dare I say, perfect tier. Now for Mushroom Bridge, and you know what? I should hate it, but I don't. I actually think this one is not that bad. That sharp turn into the straight and long hairpin would probably work kinda well. You see how much just one sharp turn can bring in terms of racing quality? It's only a good tier for me since it's really short and simple and could be a bit more flashy. Mario Circuit, however, is not that good straight up. First, the damn swirly turns would kill everything in terms of racing, but this last hairpin here is actually quite nice. However, like I said, everything else is just yucky. Disappointing from you, Mario. Step up your game. Daisy Cruiser is just so sad. I love this track in game, but man, there is too much clutter. This middle bit, if you can even make out what it is hell, since it's just 90 degree after 90 degree without letting the drivers go straight for a bit. With a few modifications, this can be great, but it sucks, so it goes in the bad tier. Waluigi Stadium time, and hey, it's not that bad. There are problems definitely, but the straights here are good and the 90 degrees at the end of them certainly help with the action, so what the hell, sure. I'll give it a perfect tier. Sherbet Land, just like the N64 one, is blasphemous. No straights, just turns and vibes. Nothing else to say other than Sherbet Land tier it goes. I have zero clue what I am seeing here. Where's the optimal line, man? Even if it was that simple, it wouldn't be that good since the twisty bits would kill momentum from the otherwise good 90 degrees and straights. So for those reasons, it gets a very low good tier, but please understand when I say very low. Yoshi Circuit may be my biggest heartbreak yet. I adore this track in game, but let's be real guys, this shit would reek for F1. You get it by now. Twisty bit bad with no straights, and yeah, bad tier unfortunately. DK Mountain is one lucky bastard. The turns wouldn't flow well with F1 cars, and it would normally be in bad tier, but that long ass straight that would be there due to a cannon being I don't know, a tiny bit unrealistic to say the least, saves this track. All action would take place there, so it gets a very undeserving good tier. Dude, Wario Coliseum, man, what the hell? I am struggling to see the vision here, so I apologize. I can't rank this, so to the wheel it heads. Let's see where it goes. Well, you heard the wheel. To Sherbet Lands, here it goes. Dino Jungle is sad. Everywhere it sucks, and this last bit here could have been nice, but nope. There has to be a little kink here before the hairpin, which would make defending very easy. Shame on you, Dino. Bowser's Castle is also shameful. The terms are bad for F1, but man, those damn straights. You know what? New rule. If the shit outweighs the good, then it's shit anyways. So yeah, bad tier it goes. Rainbow Road is cool usually, but not this one. The loops kill it hard, but even then, I don't think anything here works for F1 cars, so to Exile Ship it goes. So, Double Dash. Overall, it wasn't that bad, but it is carried hard by straights, so let's move on to my personal favorite Mario Kart game, Mario Kart DS. Dude, what is this series' obsession with hairpin galore as the first track? Well, you know what I'm gonna say here, so bad tier it goes. Yoshi Falls is like a mini Indianapolis and Monza hybrid. The turns are just wide enough and loose enough for F1 cars to carry speed, so I could see high-speed overtakes here, but this twisty bit kind of ruins the vibes. So good tier it goes for this boring-ass track. Cheap Cheap Beach is very cheap. Again, this suffers from terrible medium-speed turns, so to the bad tier it goes. Guys, guess what Luigi's Mansion suffers from? That's right, suboptimal medium speed corners. Whatever, man. Alright, man, I've had enough. I've done like what, 18 minutes of me saying most medium speeds are not ideal? I'm done. From here on out, if a track suffers from too many medium speeds or the medium speeds aren't optimal, I'm going to simply say medium speed diff and move on. So starting with Desert Hills, and it's medium speed diff, so moving on. Delfino Square shouldn't work, but why does it kinda? Like the 90s are good and whatever, but even then, I feel like this roundabout here would be pretty nice considering the straight it is placed after. So what the hell? Good tier it goes. Waluigi motherfucking pinball is so goated. Shut up about the middle part, man. I don't care. It's Waluigi pinball. Plus the other bits in the beginning and end are so good, so I don't care, man. Waluigi pinball tier, it goes. Shroom Ridge is medium speed diff, so bad tier it goes, and we move on. DK Pass is genuinely so abysmal, bro. It suffers from medium speed diff and is genuinely a hog to play through. Turbit Land tier it goes. TikTok Clock, as to be expected, is really good. This last sequence of corners here kinda messed the vibe up, but otherwise it's pretty damn good. Good straights and turns turn me on, so yeah, perfect tier it heads. Mario Circuit is medium speed diff. Do better, Mario. Airstrip Fortress is usually a favorite of mine, but I don't know. Like the straights are good, but this loop really throws me off. I'ma say good tier, but it's a pretty low good tier. Wario Stadium breaks my heart. With a few modifications, it can be great, but as it is, it's pretty clear it's medium speed diff. Man, if only this part here was a flowy long hairpin instead of the chicane from hell being there. So yeah, bad tier it goes. Beach Gardens looks robotic. Like yeah, there would be overtakes, but just look how boring it is. Plus that first half loop would suck for F1 cars as well as the last set of turns, but the straights do carry equally in my opinion. So a mid good tier it goes. The fall off of Bowser's Castle needs to be studied. This one looks miserable to drive in, especially in the first part, and there's really only one good decent part to the track, and it's just sad. I'm sad. A sad bad tier it goes. Finally, Rainbow Road, and while this one is usually fun as hell in the game, I mean, look at it. Not only is it mid-speed diff, it's loop-de-loop diff as well. Unfortunately, it has to go in the bad tier, which sucks because this one's actually really fun in game. So that was Mario Kart DS, and yeah, I just got one thing to say. medium speed diff. Now for my second favorite game in the series, Mario Kart Wii, which I'm sure many of us grew up on. Anyways, starting with Luigi's Circuit, and it's literally Monza without the chicanes. This is a bad thing though, since the chicanes were good overtaking spots, but nevertheless, overtakes would happen here often due to the straights. So a very high good tier is in order. Moo Moo Meadows at first was a bad tier for me. However, after thinking about it, take away the converging path here and make it straight, and it's really not that bad. The middle bit would suck, but taking the speed from the final bit, it would kind of make up for it since speed would be built up there. So yeah, I'll put it in the good tier. Mushroom Gorge could have been awesome, man. Taking away the left path here, this track is quite nice with the exception of the lack of sharp turns. Flowy racing would happen here often, so I'll give it yet another good tier. Toad's Factory is literally an oval if they just gave up halfway through. And since it is 3/4 oval, it automatically makes up for whatever this is. So yeah, I'll give it another good tier, and so far, this is a fantastic start for Mario Kart Wii. You know, maybe Mario isn't so bad anymore. Mario Circuit is literally just Toad's Turnpike, except with a weird chicane in the middle. So I'll give it a very high good tier, but only because that chicane is pretty weird. Coconut Mall, like in game, is just so good. It's a semi-oval track, but damn, is it just that good? Speed would be carried through, and these hairpins here would probably allow for some nice dive bombs, so great stuff from the mall and perfect tier it heads. DK Summit also goes pretty hard. Now firstly, the turns, they kinda suck. The hairpins are okay, but the medium speeds here kinda suck major butt. However, the super duper long straight should make up for that. So yeah, good tier seems fitting for this one. Wario's Gold Mine makes me sad. I love this track in game, but thinking about it, this layout would suck for F1. It's simple, medium speed diff along with weird corners after straights that would totally kill momentum. Just sad and pathetic from Wario, so bad tier it goes. Daisy Circuit is normally pretty, but this layout is anything but. Even with the new long straight here, this one will still suck due to medium speed diff and whatever this sequence is. So a bad tier seems fitting for the Peach wannabe. Koopa Cape suffers from medium speed diff and the least straights to ever exist, so a quick bad tier and moving on. Wow man, the Star Cup really sucks ass for F1 since Maple Treeway is also pretty horrible. Again, it just suffers from medium speed diff, but honestly, it's more due to the lack of good straights and overtaking opportunities, which sucks. This track is usually top 5 in the game, but for F1, it's in the bad tier. At first glance, Grumble Volcano sucks, but after getting rid of the converging paths, it's really not that bad. The speed would accommodate the track well, and aside from this very weird chicane, the medium speeds would actually shine here, I think. So it gets a pretty nice good tier. Dry Ruins was very tough for me. This first bit sucks, but the interior portion plus the speed from the straight before would flow quite nicely in my opinion. It was a very tough call, but I think a low good tier is fitting. Taking away the oncoming traffic and bomb cars for obvious reasons, Moonview Highway isn't that bad. The first part wouldn't be too good, but the last part more than makes up for it. High-speed racing would take place, and hey, who knows, maybe the first bit would be nicer due to the high speeds from the straight before. So yeah, I think a good tier is fitting. Bowser's Castle is literally a parallelogram, but hey, I'm all for it. The corners are quite nice in my opinion, and obviously, the straights would lead to action, so this one is a simple one indeed. I was debating a very high good tier, but in my opinion, I think this one is perfect. Making the converging paths into straight lines actually makes for a really good rainbow road. The corners would really depend on track conditions and weather, but on average, they'd be alright. The straights though are really nice and could lead to dive bombs sometimes, so while not perfect, it is a very high good tier for me. So overall, Mario Kart Wii is definitely the best game so far. Most tracks would work surprisingly well with F1 cars, and hey, let's hope 7 and 8 are just as good. So let's begin with Mario Kart 7, one of the Mario Kart games of all time. Toad Circuit, just like in game, sucks dirty, ugly, abhorrent asshole. If your favorite Mario Kart track ever is Toad's fucking Circuit, leave the channel and never come back. Medium speed diff and Sherbet Land tier it goes. Daisy Hills realistically only has one good overtaking spot, and while that straight is nice, more shit outweighs the good, and per the rules, bad tier it heads. Cheap Lagoon was almost good. Instead of letting the oval, they put a weird chicane in the turn and another in the straight. Again, it is not 1994 anymore, so bad tier it goes. Shy Guy Bazaar is one of the most aesthetically pleasing tracks on the list. However, this would suck ass for F1. Medium speed diff, and while, yeah, that straight is straight, you know the shit rule, so yeah. Bad tier it goes, and a very horrible start for 7. Woohoo Loop would suck at racing, but it would make for awesome endurance racing. It's really like the Nürburgring, you know? Not the best racing, but it has one of the best viewing experiences. So it's in bad tier, but it would be fun to watch. Mario Circuit is a classic case of shit outweighing the bad and medium speed diff, so to no one's surprise, bad tier. But hey, at least going inside Peach's castle is cool. If Mario Kart 7 has been giving me pure and utter garbage for food, then Music Park is giving me cold food. At least it's edible. This track isn't that bad since there are nice qualities, but also equally bad ones like the double hairpins after a slow chicane, so a very low good tier. Rock Mountain is medium speed diff. Say it after me, everyone. Make straight straight again. Piranha Plant Slide is not that bad. I would even say it's the best track here so far, but it's only like lukewarm food. The straights and 90-degree combo really carries this track, but man, 7 really needs to step their game up. But yeah, it's a good tier. Okay, maybe 7 is coming back though. Wario Shipyard is pretty good. It has some nice flow, and the beginning portion works pretty well, and the only complaint here is the lack of straights. So yeah, I'd give it another good tier. Neo Bowser City is another cool looking track, but this layout would just suck hard for F1. It simply has too many squigglies here, and it really sucks since again, this aesthetic is really cool. So yeah, unfortunately, a bad tier. Take everything I said about Woohoo Loop and place it here for Mako Woohoo. Cool endurance racing, but for actual racing, nah. So bad tier it goes, but again, another cool racing spectacle. DK Jungle was a really tough one for me. On one hand, I think it's just medium speed diff, because I just can't see how good consistent F1 racing can happen here. On the other hand, however, I think this can play out like Silverstone, since the medium speeds actually do have a good flow here. Maybe it's just a perspective thing, but hey, since 7 has been horrible so far, I'll give this one a good tier. Rosalina's Ice World at first glance looks terrible, but as per the rules, this converging pathway section would be turned into a straight, and now it's actually quite nice. Dare I say, I think really good racing would happen here, and it's almost perfect, but that first turn really sucks. If it just led directly to the loop, it could have been perfect, but for now, a very high good tier is in order. Bowser's Castle would be alright. I actually think this middle part here works well since the medium speeds have a nice flow, and obviously the super long straight helps too, so yeah, a very high good tier for me. Now for Rainbow Road, and for what is usually the best Rainbow Road in the entire series, for F1, this kind of sucks. It's just typical medium speed dip. The corners don't flow, and yeah, the straight, but something about outweighing comes into effect. I give this one a bad tier because of it. So, Mario Kart 7. The less said, the better. Now we are at Mario Kart 8, the final main game in the series as of recording, so let us see what Mario has cooked up. Well, after some real stinkers, Mario has bounced back with Mario Kart Stadium. It has a nice flow with a good mix of everything. However, it could use some more complex turns to make it even better. So overall, not that bad Mario, you get a good tier. Water Park is surprisingly not that bad either. At first, the loop looks pretty weird, but when you just imagine it as an upward or a downward turn that turns the track into a figure 8, it's really not that bad. It has some pretty good flow and good overtaking spots, with the only real complaint being that final hairpin. So another very high good tier is in order. Since Sweet Canyon has a cannon area and a converging paths area that is neither faster or slower, we have 2 big new straights, and it makes this track pretty good. The only bad part is the openness of the turn, since if they were just tighter or sharper, this could have been great. But regardless, I'll give this one a good tier. Swamp Ruins rounds out a great start for 8, and this track continues it. Aside from this very ugly beginning part, this track would seem fun for F1 and produce some very nice racing. So another good tier and a great start for 8 so far. Mario Circuit confuses me. It's a better figure 8 circuit from DS, but I don't know. I still feel like the turns would be dirty air galore, but I guess the straights are nice, and who knows, maybe the speed would complement the turns well. So actually, I'll put this one in good tier. Toad Harbor unfortunately breaks our good streak, but it really is bad. Aside from the final bit here where it looks pretty fun, the rest of the track doesn't really support good F1 racing. And you know the outweighing rule by now, so bad tier it heads. Twisted Mansion puts us back on track though. The beginning straight is pretty good along with the hairpin there, but it is stopped by that middle portion before picking back up in the last bit. Pretty good again, however, we still don't have a perfect tier from this game yet. Shy Guy Falls, as to be expected I guess, isn't so good. The problem is simple, too much squigglies and not enough sharpness. So good old medium speed diff and moving on. Sunshine Airport starts the amazing Star Cup well. It has some nice flow with a bit of a lacking middle part and a good final part, and there are obviously 2 new straights as well that are pretty cool too, so a pretty high good tier is fitting. Dolphin Shoals surprisingly reminds me more of Monza than Luigi's Circuit from Wii. It has some high speed straights and chicanes that do provide good overtaking spots. I actually think this one is great even with the final loop serving as a Parabolica-esque corner, so interestingly enough, I think Dolphin Shoals is 8's first perfect tier track. Electrodrome, however, is our first disappointment from this cup. This track is amazing in game, but for F1, the lack of long straights would kill this track and the beginning portion also really sucks. So a bad tier for this one. Mount Wario also falls into the Woohoo Loop and Maka Woohoo category of a great track for racing spectacle, but not for racing entertainment. Also, just imagine it loops back around for a lap. So yeah, a bad tier for this one. At first, Cloud Top Cruise looked good to me, but after more thinking, it's pretty bad. Like, it has some highlights towards the end, but I really feel like the beginning portion could use some extending, and this final kink here should just be removed. So yeah, bad tier placement for this one. Bone Dry Dunes falls victim to medium speed diff and outweighing rule, so bad tier it goes, and we move on. Bowser's Castle was almost perfect, but man, this final bit here should have been a hairpin and not whatever chicanery is going on instead. Otherwise, good use of straights at 90 degrees, so a high good tier it goes. Rainbow Road is the final course in the base game, and it's unique. It's really not that good, since even removing all of this here and putting a straight doesn't really fix anything, and the loops as the primary source of turns also really sucks. So yeah, bad tier it goes. We are not done, people, since this game has DLC tracks that aren't booster course tracks, so let us see what they have in store. Starting with Excite Bike Arena, and it's literally an oval with a hairpin at the end instead of flowy turns. 10. Mute City is normally fun and good, but for F1, this stinks. It's medium speed diff and nothing more. So yeah, bad tier it goes. Next up is Ice Ice Outpost, and man, what an unfortunate name given recent events. Anyways, it's pretty bad. Medium speed diff is all I could think about, so bad tier it goes. Link, just like with Mario, sucks at creating tracks. It's more medium speed diff, and yeah, go back to your own country, Link. A good example of how to make medium speeds work is with Wild Woods. The straights are great, and it turns allow for speed to be carried through effectively, and the only complaint I have with the track is nothing. I seriously genuinely think this is a perfect track for F1. The Animal Crossing villagers are valid, since Animal Crossing is a pretty good track. Just take away the hairpin at the end and this is genuinely perfect, but for now, a high good tier is in order. Super Bell Subway has the right amount of flow, but not enough straights. If it were straighter, this may have been perfect, but for now, the good amount of flow will land this track in the good tier. Just like with Wario Coliseum, I have no idea what I'm looking at here. So to the wheel we go back to, and let's see where it lands. Well, the wheel has spoken, so perfect tier for Big Blue. Now we are still not done, since the booster course did add some original tracks as well, so starting with Ninja Hideaway, and it's literally Vegas. Like, give or take, it really is the Vegas track, so yeah, I think a perfect tier is fitting. Sky High Sunday is also literally just Daytona. I'll give it another perfect tier. Merry Mountain is also pretty damn good. Like, damn, I actually can't think of a flaw here other than maybe it's a bit boring and non-flashy, but that doesn't stop a track from being perfect, so yeah, perfect tier it goes. Next, we have Yoshi's Island, and wowzers, this is good too. It's not perfect since I think the middle part is kind of bloated with turns, but they aren't that bad. A high good tier is in order. Finally, our last track, Squeaky Clean Sprint, and oh my god, that's me! Yeah guys, I forgot to say that I was in Mario Kart 8 this whole time, and it was such an honor to play the role of the background duck. Thank you, Nintendo. And also, what the hell? This track is genuinely perfect for F1 too. It has good flow from the straights and corners again, and yeah, just wow. Perfect tier it heads too, and if you count all of this as a cup, this was hands down the best Mario Kart Cup for F1 racing. Now before you say, forgot something Duckman? Yes, I know, I forgot the tour tracks, but firstly, all tour tracks have a different layout for every single lap, or just the last lap, which makes it hard to rank, and secondly, I genuinely cannot be asked to go and rank every single tour track there is, even in just the booster course. I am tired, man. Leave me alone. Okay, so that was which Mario Kart tracks would be best for F1. Man, I'm drained. Here's a meme. Goodbye, everyone. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock for their continued support. And remember, if you want to see videos early and get some more cool benefits, make sure to join it since it also really helps me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe for better content. And make sure to let me know in the comments what you think. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.